I wake up every single day. I am who I say I am. And I get what I get because I live in beast mode. Stop being gazelles. You're not happy.
What's going on, world? Welcome to another edition of the Secret to Success podcast. I'm your host, CJ, joined by the Bayesian sensation, Mr. Carl Phillips.
The Bayesian sensation. What's going on?
Man, I can't call it, man. I can't call it. And the hip-hop preacher, Eric Douglas Thomas, the 19th.
Oh, man, I stare in my bedroom. I hear my conscience call telling me I need a girl as sweet as a dove. I need love.
Okay, hey, I'm with it. Man, appreciate y'all being back on solid ground and getting up this morning to do the podcast, man. We are back, y'all. We are back in the States. Feels good to be back with our families.
Chipotle is back in full effect.
Chipotle is back in effect for E. Probably Outback and all his other
I ain't hit Outback yet.
spots that he.
Yeah, I ain't hit Outback yet.
Is Chick-fil-A open yet?
It's not.
We coming around the mountain, though. I think it's the 13th this year.
I heard rumors that he been going up there every morning in the parking lot and just doing his prayer and walk and talk with Jesus in the parking lot of Chick-fil-A.
I'm standing at the wall hearing my conscience
Is there any
call.
truth to that rumor?
Telling me I
know what I'm
need
saying?
a Chick-fil-A like I need love.
No doubt. Yeah, no doubt, man. It was good to be back, man. Definitely, what a phenomenal trip. And of course, we're gonna get into that, but good to be back, man. Of course, we ended up coming back a day earlier than we thought. We were supposed to come back on Monday morning, and we ended up getting a flight back in Sunday night, man. So my whole family, of course, my parents always come down when I go, out of the country or just out of town for any length of time. So my whole family was actually out to dinner, and my brother was the only one who knew that I was gone or that I was coming back that night. And so, I asked him, where y'all at? He was like, oh, we at the restaurant. I'm like, bet, I'm about to come through. So I took my suitcase, everything, Uber driver dropped me off, and I walked in the restaurant, and like my brother was the only one. So my sister-in-law was there, Candace, the babies, my mom and dad, and I came through the door, everybody was just like, ah. So I felt like a superstar for a couple seconds.
Hey, 15 seconds, baby.
Man, it was great to be back, man. The fam was geeked. Well, of course, E's wife, Didi, went with us, so he probably didn't have a hero's return for his teenagers and 20-someths. But, Carl, what was your experience like coming back through the door? You ain't been gone that long, man. That's the first time.
Yeah.
I did it a couple times with Australia, but this your first time being gone for an extended period.
Yep, so my wife knew I was coming back on Sunday. They just didn't know what time. So she had the kids. I don't know what kind of procedure they went through, but I'm talking about them jokers had signs. They had like each of the kids had like a little board, a whiteboard, welcome home, daddy. And I'm talking about walking. Well, so walking through the door, she told me I missed it because I took too long to get the suitcase out of the car. She's like, they was screaming and hollering. She's like, as soon as they saw the car pull up, but by the time I got inside, like half the energy had died down. But no, they were geeked, man. Ran up to me, gave me the hugs. Now here's the only part, and I realized like, wow. So I made the mistake, and I pulled up. Hey y'all, I got y'all some stuff from Poland. Pulled out. Of course, y'all know my son, man, loves trains. I got him this little train from Poland. He got that joker didn't look back at me since then. My man, his next comment to me was, "Ooh, daddy, I love this train, but next time you go back to Poland, can you bring this one for me?" I was like, wow. And then little mama, I gave her like a little backpack with a teddy bear, and she grabbed that joint and just walked off. I was like, ooh, I messed up. I should have held the gift for at least another day.
It's short-lived.
Yeah, short-lived.
Short-lived.
Everybody get 15 seconds. You got 15.
It is very short-lived.
Yeah, but I got enough. I got what I needed. My family. No, just in reality, man, it was that confirmation that the last T-Jam, triple-double. Like, we did our work. Everything went well. And then you come home to a family that wants to see you. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was just amazing for me to just experience that on the triple-double side, man. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I just want to.
E, how was your return back into the States?
Yeah, I got like you said, 21-year-old and 18-year-old in college. So when I walked in, I just walked into a clean house. But I will say this to you, though. I had the opportunity to see Carl, and the kids come out, Well, I actually saw them, I think, before he even saw them, with the signs at the door, the whole nine. And it reminded me of, Jalen and Jada, back in the day. And I just want to say to those people who are listening, You know, especially if you have young children or whatever age they are, just enjoy it. I mean, I'm being for real. Like, enjoy it. No, all jokes aside, enjoy it because it goes by so fast. And when I hear you guys talk about, your experience coming home, of course, I've been speaking since I was, really 19 years old at the Bell Tower Ministry, and I'm 46 now, so do the math. So I'm not gonna say I, miss it because my children are still in my life. They're not in that phase anymore. But I will say, I just reflected on it when I saw, Jesse and I saw Jordan. I was just like, wow, I remember that season in my life. And so I use the word I don't miss it, not in a bad way. I'm just saying there's seasons. And I understand that. And so I just want to say to people, like, you really have to enjoy the season because there are those of you who get caught up on, I want to be able to put my babies through college. I want to be able to retire at a certain age. I want to be able to pay my house off. I want to be able to, pay off my student loans. And while all that's great, what you end up doing is that you don't create memories now that you'll be able to reflect on later because you're so busy in the future that you're not enjoying the present. So that there is this fine balance, that we have to master. I do understand that, but I am telling you guys like that you can find that balance. Enjoy now. And then when you do pay off the student loans and you do pay off the house and you do retire and you do put your kids in college, you will have great memories, to reflect on. And it won't be like, your kids can't stand you or your wife is like, yeah, you did pay off everything, but, you didn't spend any time with us, whatever. So I'm just saying, just in short, guys, find that balance. Enjoy this particular season because it won't last always.
Oh, yes. No. Look, I'm right there with you, and I learned my lesson with Trey. I remember, I promise you, I was like, oh, man, it'd just be so sweet when he could walk and talk. Bro, I promise you now, I'd be like, if you don't sit down and shut up.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So with little mama Avery, I promise, she just lay there, smile at you. I'm like, oh, this is amazing. You know what I mean? Like, I'm enjoying it because I'm just like,
absolutely.
yo, you know what I mean? Now I'm talking about my man on 10. He all over the place. And so, no, I'm definitely, man, enjoying it. And, man, let me tell you something, man. This ain't got nothing to do with nothing, but my baby girl is she's so amazing. It's like, I don't know, man. It's different having a girl.
No
like, I
question.
love my man. Trust me and Trey got
no
a relationship out of this world. But that little girl just turned me into a pudding pop. I swear to you. I took a video yesterday. She was just laying in her little cot thing in the kitchen, chilling with her mama. And I walked in with my video camera and she just lit up like a Christmas tree. And I was like, man, look, you can have whatever you want. Like, it's just, I don't know, them girls, man, it's something different.
no
and I'm
question.
glad that,
Sure.
I told somebody the other day, I was like, one of my boys, he having another baby. And I was like, he got a boy, like first time like we did. And I was like, man, I hope you get a girl. Just because I feel like it balances you out as a parent. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like you only need one style for the boy. You know what I'm saying? Like I got one go-to and it's working pretty effectively thus far. But with the girl, Lil Mama, it's just a whole different ball game, man. And I really feel like it stretches you as a parent. You know what I mean? I'm not even there yet, but I can imagine just watching E, especially Carl, our kids are still pretty young, but watching E with Jalen and Jada and the difference and the balance and the way you have to treat Jalen as opposed to Jada and what motivates Jada compared to Jalen and, just that whole dynamic. So, nah, man, that's kind of off topic, but definitely feel you.
On topic. Definitely on topic.
With enjoying the moment, man. Let's get into the show, man. This is a long intro, but we'll get into it. And I want to go to Am I Tripping Or? We back on it. And this week I was thinking about, okay, what just from the trip, Am I Tripping Or, right? And the Am I Tripping Or is, am I tripping or every time we go international, do folks think we on the basketball team?
Every single time. Every single time.
Okay. Now, okay. Now, let me set the stage. Okay. Now, E and I, Carl, this is the first time Carl really joined us since Egypt, right? So it's been a while since Carl been with us. But me and E go fairly regularly overseas. So every time we go, Of course, all right, cool, I get it. We bros, 1. 2, we in first class. So there's a component there that you're not used to seeing black men in first class. But I'm saying, even if you see a black man in first class, okay, I'm 6'3". Maybe you think I hoop. Okay, maybe I'm like a point guard. Like, I'm tall in the regular world, but in the league, I'm like Chauncey Billups height, right? Like, I'm not just super tall for NBA, but whatever. Maybe you think I hoop. But I'm knowing you not looking at E thinking he a hooper.
Webb.
And every single time we on the plane, somebody,
Webb,
either the stewardess, Spud Webb. I'm talking about Nate Robinson, Spud Webb. Right. I'm like, what in the devil? Like, and not did you used to play? Like, they'll say, what team do you play for?
This very second.
Right. I'm like, wow. So the stewardess, or it'd be like a stewardess or another person flying or whatever, it'd be like, hey, what team do you guys play for? And I'm never, like, trust me, I know people are naive, but sometimes it does get on my nerves. I'm like, yo, we can't be businessmen. Like, and then of course we are dressed in like, our sweatsuits and our ETA gear. So I get it. You know what I mean? We don't have, maybe if we had the corporate look going, they might say, hey, are you guys going over to London or Poland to do business? But for whatever reason, it's always, what team do you guys play for? And am I tripping, or we just don't look like a hoop team? And if we do, I'm sure we look like the worst hoop teams on the bench.
I'm just saying, see, I'm 46 years old. You gotta know that I didn't play for 20 years. I played 20 years ago. But here's what's so funny to me, and we're being serious at this point, but nobody ever looks at us and think you guys are authors. Nobody ever looks at us and thinks you have advanced degrees. Nobody looks at us and thinks you guys are consultants. But I'll be real, that only fuels the fire for me when I'm speaking to young people and this whole, stereotype thing and saying, hey guys, look, this is what, people believe, what people perceive, and you just got to make sure that you represent. You know what I'm saying? And I was with the Florida Gators yesterday, and a little piece of what I talked about was, just pride, man. Like, I showed a video at the Success Series of Tom Brady, and just really spoke about a lot of what Tom Brady moves him and motivates him is the fact that he was drafted 199. The fact that, he was drafted 6th round, and that, there were teams that passed him. It seems like every team passed him a couple times, but that didn't make him bitter, see. It actually became a sense of motivation. It became fuel. It became wood that he put on the fire. And I believe that every time he played a team, in his mind, it was almost like, you're going to pay for passing me by. You're going to get the business. So, when things like this happens to us, we're not like bitter or angry or anything like that. We actually come back motivated to prove that, hey, guys, it's not what you think. Now, we don't have anything against basketball players and football players. We don't look down at anybody or say, we're not no basketball, football player. We're just saying we want the narrative to be that, yeah, oh, you football, oh, you basketball. And the same way they ask that, they ask, are you an author? Are you a consultant? Do you have an advanced degree? We just want it to be balanced. That's all.
And you know what I'm thinking about is, you talking like for real. You always say it, but I never really put it in this context. You always say like, yo, that's why I wear the hat. Like, these kids, when they see me, they need to know that the PhD is possible looking like this. You know what I'm like? You don't have to switch up everything. Like, you already got what you need inside of you. And as you saying that, I'm thinking like, wow, that's deep. You right. Like, even grown people out in the world, when they see us, don't expect us to be a certain thing. So the kids looking at you, maybe with the suit and the tie on, saying that looks unreachable. Whereas with the hat and the fit, it's like, yo, nobody thinks you could do it like that, but we are literally a walking example of, he just said it. Between me, Carl, how many degrees do we have between the three of us? Carl, you got how many?
I got 1, 2, 3 of them.
Okay, I got 2, he got 3, right? So come on, I'm saying that we got 8 degrees between the 3 of us, and a PhD, a couple master's degrees between the 3 of us, and we walk on the plane and they like, do y'all hoop? I'm like, what in the devil? Like, I'm not even understanding that. Like, okay, if we are going to hoop over here, where's the rest of the team? One, You know what I'm
where do
saying?
y'all
Like,
hoop at over
like,
here?
Hey,
And where do y'all hoop at over
in
here,
their
though?
defense, though, see, we did have Josh with us. In their defense, Josh like 8 feet tall. So in their defense,
Okay, this true. Josh 8 feet tall, but this the first trip Josh been on, and like I said before, it was me and E, and I'm like, okay, maybe if you ask like, yo, do you play and you his coach, something maybe, but I'm saying they walking up on both of us like, and I'll be honest, not just basketball. E, they've also said, are you guys entertainers?
yeah. So I'll take it back. See,
singers
I
or.
don't know if you remember
Yeah,
but
I
we
do.
had
Yeah,
I'm talking about
England.
TGIM. No, TGIM. We out here in Grand Ledge.
Oh,
See,
yes.
out here, literally,
Yes.
like E's house is here. I'm talking about I could throw a rock to where we shooting from. And I'd never forget this moment. We out there shooting a TGIM. This is probably 5 years into TGIM, and this lady stops by and she asks, like, what are you guys doing? And it was like this weird like question, like, what are you doing
yeah, I
here? You remember
remember.
that? And she's
Yeah.
like, what are you doing here? So we literally stopped filming and started to explain to her, we're a motivational consulting company, and we put these videos out every Monday just to give people, hope, inspiration. And she's like, oh, okay, that's really nice. And then she literally stopped and was like, okay, now really, are you guys like rappers? Like, what are you doing out here? And it was just one of these moments where E and I looked at each other like, wow, like we got a lot of work to do. We got to change some serious paradigms because, like we just said, people just do not expect that from for whatever reason from us. You know what I mean? And we just got to change that. There's nothing to be angry about. We just got to put some work in and change that paradigm.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like you said, it's not an angry thing. Like you said, it's just let's give them something else to look at, and let's do it our way. You know what I mean? And so. I just thought that was funny,
Yeah,
man.
see,
like I said,
it would have been better if they thought we played racquetball. We were racquetball champions. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, hey, I have been known to swing a mean racket from time to time. You know what I'm saying? So,
you know what I'm saying? Carl played ping pong
I
very
played
well.
ping pong for a couple of years. I could have done my thing.
oh, I'm sure. Oh, the Bayesian sensation. Let me tell you something. Carl straight famous out here. People be bringing Carl like Barbados sweatshirts, flags, hoodies. Carl got all kind of stuff. The Bayesian sensation is taking over, ladies and gentlemen. I just thought I'd let y'all know that in case y'all didn't think Carl was hot in these streets. Carl is definitely hot in these streets. But all right. So let's move on past the Am I Tripping or last week, man. What a powerful, and I didn't even know, but what a powerful podcast we had last week with Josh on. I got so many comments from people saying, wow, that was one of the best podcasts you guys had. Josh inspired you with his story. And just, you see where he's at, man. And people were saying, wow, the fact that he can still trust and the fact that, he's running with y'all and, family to y'all now, like that's just an amazing thing. And, I didn't even go back and listen to it. I felt the energy while we were doing it. But, last week was a different kind of podcast, man. And I didn't, we come into this and we got notes and, I kind of, think I know where it's going to go. But last week, man, was just, it turned into something else, us sitting in that, hotel room, just kind of vibing and kicking it. And I think reflecting all at the same time. And shout out to Josh, man, who, like I said, is now in charge of our business and sales branch on Breathe University. And, just a partner, with us in this entire journey and, having his skill set and having his personality, more importantly. You guys know how we do. Like, you could be, the smartest person in the world. If you're not a good fit for the culture of the company, you could never be down with us. And Josh is like a brother who fits in perfectly.
Absolutely.
Like, he would have his own story about what happened when he walked in the door, when he came home from the trip. So shout out to Josh and the podcast from last week, man, and everybody who sent me emails, texts, just everything, saying how much the podcast had an impact on me.
Hey, keep Josh and his family in your prayers too, man. They're being, I think as of yesterday, they were evacuated, of course, there in the path of Hurricane Matthew. So just, of course, everybody else. But yeah, Josh reached out yesterday.
Yeah, Josh and them live on an island, so it's like, you gotta. Yeah, they over there on Daniel Island, and I think they probably are a little bit more exposed than most, and so I think Josh may actually even be heading down to Atlanta. So if he does, of course we'll host his family here at the house. But everybody who's in the path of that hurricane, be safe. And, prayers up for you guys. But I want to talk about, I know we kind of touched on it last week, but we were still in London. But we didn't get a chance to tell you guys about the Poland trip. And I'll tell you just briefly, and I'll let E, because E was kind of quiet on last week's podcast, and I want him to talk about his experience in London and Poland and kind of put some flesh on it. But for me, and Carl, you can speak to it as well before we give E the mic, Poland to me was so crazy because you got to understand something. They don't speak English like that. And for me, I'm looking like, wow, these people know E. Like we're walking through the venue doing, sound check, and people are like, oh my God, just like freaking out. And I'm like, yo, they not like, I can barely like have a conversation with them because their English is so limited, or I should say my Polish is limited, right?
There you go.
And I can barely have a conversation with them, but they're like, I'm talking about all over E and just like, oh, wow, and telling the translator, like, he changed my life. And, I'm just sitting there like, what? Like, we can't even, it's hard for me to even tell the cab driver how to get back to the hotel. And yet there are people here who, have been impacted by the message. And E, I couldn't help but think of how you always say, like, body language and energy, and a lot of that can be sensed. Like, human nature is human nature, and you can sense somebody's passion and emotion. And I'm like, yo, you got to think, a lot of these people are literally watching the videos for the emotion and the energy of it. Like, you can't even fully understand what he's saying. And even if you have it transcribed, it doesn't have the same passion in terms of the words. So literally they are getting impacted by your spirit and your energy. And I just thought that was amazing, man. It was just mind blowing to see how they reacted to the message, how they reacted to us when we came in, and not even fully being able to understand the language. So I think that was the craziest takeaway from Poland for me. Carl, if you want to kind of talk about your experience, and then E, we would love to hear you about not just Poland, the trip overall.
Yep. So of course, y'all, CJ got me on Instagram with the mouth watering boy looking at the meat, but
The meat.
no, let me just tell you, man. What I loved about the trip was just a different culture. I mean, like they're people. They respond to everything, but they just got their own little nuances, their own little things. And my word of caution to anybody that's traveling and seeking can co-sign this for me. But we learned one word in Polish. One word. See, say it for me.
Dziękuję.
Dziękuję. And that literally means thank you. That's the only Polish we knew the whole trip. But I'm telling you, watching people's faces after we said it, oh, it made the whole trip for me. Literally, you just say one word and everybody, you could see the struggle before we in the store trying to find a couple of batteries for the mics and stuff like that. Can't understand nothing. Right. I'm talking about, it's frustrating. Like she's trying, we're trying.
We were playing charades
literally,
a couple
you know
times.
what I mean? But we end up finding it. But just literally saying that one word, dziękuję. You could see them kind of melt, man. So just overall, just meeting people and just, like C said, just to know that people, like I'm talking about, like, I don't know, 30,000 miles away, how many ever miles it is, like they're familiar with the work that we're doing literally from our houses, here in Michigan, as we travel, the videos, that kind of stuff. It's amazing. And at some point we'll show it, but at the end of the event, they had all the other speakers, everybody on stage. And this one kid had a Greatness is Upon You book, and he held the book up. And again, he can't speak English, so he's just holding the book up. And then he points to the book and shows me a mark, and he's like, motioning, like, can I get E's signature in the book? So I go grab E and, come over here, E, real quick. Like, my man just needs a signature. He got a book. He's supporting our book from Poland. So E comes over to sign the book, and that thing turns into pandemonium. It's like hundreds of people hanging off the edge of the stage, taking photos. Like E needs, like I think you stayed down there, E, for like literally probably 10, 15, 20 minutes, just signing and taking photos and stuff. And it's like they don't speak English like C was saying, man. So it's just amazing for real, that when when you're doing what you called to do, man, like it transcends culture, it transcends race, it transcends language, man. It just goes way beyond anything that we could have imagined.
Yeah, no doubt. And shout out to Lucas for bringing us into Poland. Shout out to Ava and Sonia for the London trip, who they just were amazing. Worked hard to bring us in, and they got it done, and both trips were just phenomenal. So thank you to them for bringing us in. And shout out to my man Lucas. He came out the day of the event.
Man.
He had one of the ETA shirts
Yeah.
on. He had the hat on. I'm talking about he rocked it all day long, man. We'll put up some pics so you guys can check it out. But my man Lucas was in the full fit doing this thing. So, yeah, shout out to them for bringing us into Poland. We look forward to going back for sure. All right, E, since you had a brief absence on the podcast last week, the people ready to hear from you. Talk about the trip, talk about London, talk about Poland, and you know, just how this trip was different. You know, we've grown quite a bit since, you know, the last trip over there, and talk about how this one, you know, contrasted compared to the last.
Yeah, what I like to do, see, there's not enough time, you know, on the podcast to do it. I like to see.
We got all the time you need, baby. You know what you need? A couple hours?
Yeah, I need a couple hours.
We ain't got nothing else to do.
So what I like to do, if you can, let's just have a, you know, just when we have time, let's do an interview. Let's just ask a series of questions about England and Poland, and I'll wax deep. I do want to say this though, we talk about reverse engineering. So guys, I'm going to take this time not to really talk about my personal experience on the two, but as we reverse engineer, there are those of you who are listening to us, and you are. There are a couple of you that are at a place of frustration because you're saying, when am I going to get my turn? You know, and then there are those of you who have had a measure of success, but you're not satisfied. And you're kind of like, yo, what's going on? It's like, I thought I would be further than where I am now. And you in your own right, you know, have some sense of frustration as well. And I just want to encourage you. The thing that I learned about England and Poland is you reap what you sow, you know, and I don't know if I'm explaining it, you know, with the kind of clarity that I want to, but I do want you to know that if you're not being invited, you know, throughout the world, or whatever your profession is, if you feel like you're not getting the contracts, or you don't have the clientele you want, or you don't have the opportunities in regularity, like yo, E, it's just not happening, you know, with the speed, or with, you know, it's just not what I thought. Look, what I learned about England and Poland is you literally, if you're average, you get average opportunities. If you're good, you get, like, guys, there's no magic trick. There's no secret sauce. Like, there's no way around this. I'm in England and Poland, and all I could think about was I was a high school dropout. But listen to me, when I say I was a high school dropout, the operative word was. Are you hearing me? I was a high school dropout. Like, don't think for 1 minute England happened because I was screaming and hollering on some videos. Don't think for one moment it happened just because I put it on a vision board. I literally had to become an entirely different person to get those kind of opportunities. And that's what blew my mind. What blew my mind was like, yo, E, what are you doing that a group of people who do not speak the English language are willing to pay this type of money to fly you guys in, put you up in the hotel, pay for you to eat? And I'm talking about, it was me, my wife, Carl, CJ, Josh. Like, I'm not saying ET. We were in different hotel rooms, guys. Listen to what I'm telling you. And so I just want to encourage somebody, the opportunities are there. Like, don't believe the hype. The opportunities are there. That the money is there. Stop whining, stop complaining. It's there, right? But you literally have to become, and CJ will have to explain it, you know, because he's the levels guy. But what level do you get to when you no longer have to speak the language, but they still bring you in? What level is that? Now, I'm not sure, but I know it's not average. I know it's not good. I'm not sure if it's great. It might be somewhere between great and phenomenal. So for me, guys, this whole trip was phenomenal, because what it showed me is that there are no limits, that you cannot be stopped, that the only limits that exist are the ones that you place on yourself, that if you are willing to put in the work, the rewards will follow, you know. And I think the other thing I want to share is just the opportunity now to be at a level where you can demand things, you know. Like, that's so liberating, to be able to fly to England and fly to Poland and have my wife with me. You know, I've been in this, listen to me guys, I've been doing this since I was 19 years old. I've been speaking professionally for over 20 years, you know, and after, you know, let's say 18 years to in the 20-year span, to be able to take my wife, like to be able to, how do I say it? Like I didn't have to come home, you know, and say this is how the trip was. Now, did I have to do that, you know, in the first 10 years? Absolutely. First 12, 13 years, yeah, I had to have these experiences and come home with pictures, you know, but I can honestly say 18 years in the game, 20 years in the game, I can say that my wife is, you know, by my side, and I don't have to come home and say, hey, boo, this trip was, and you should have seen this, and this part was, you know, I paid my dues. I had that season, you know, and so that's the biggest part to me, to be able to make demands, you know, to be able to, for my wife to go shopping, or my wife to stay in the hotel room and work on, you know, she's a registered nurse, so there are things that she needed to accomplish in her absence, you know, to know that my children were safe, you know, to know that my children, you know, are grinding, they handling their business, you know, so just a phenomenal experience. And again, this segment for me goes out as a word of encouragement. If you don't like what you're seeing, you know, there's a song that said, do you know where you're going to? Do you like the things, you know, that this earth, this world is showing you? You know, if you don't, you ask yourself, am I average? Am I good? Am I great? Am I phenomenal? And I'm telling you, when you become, you don't have to worry about the opportunity. When you become good, when you become great, when you become phenomenal, the opportunities, you'll see them start to change. Man, okay, let me just say this. See, I'll jump off of it. I had a contract with the Florida Gators football program this year, and this was technically my last appointment or assignment for the team as they get prepared for their game this week. And this was supposed to be the last one. You know, I had a very, very, very powerful session. Coach and I had a conversation afterwards. And listen to me, guys, please. Listen to me carefully. Coach came to me with a concern. And I said to myself, wow, Carl, here it is after the last one. Now Coach has another concern that I could possibly add value. And I'm telling y'all, a lot of y'all, you own money. You own opportunities. Like you looking for opportunities, you're looking for money. You're not looking to add value. And I'm telling you, if you have value, you're going to get opportunities. If you have value, you're going to make money. Your problem is you putting the cart before the horse. Like you trying to blow up. And what do you do? Who are you? Who are you that you should blow up? What do you provide? What product do you have that somebody would want to put money in your pocket? And here's the crazy part, guys. Not only did I have a conversation with Coach, and not only did Coach have something else that I could add value to, what blew my mind, guys, was I was brought in early that day because the basketball program wanted to sit down and have an extensive conversation about what do we need to do to have you work for the basketball program now. So at the end of this contract, guess what happens? Another door opens in the same institution. So just want to, like I said, I do want to talk about England and Poland a little bit later. But I just want, for those of you who listen, because you're listening to hear value, you're listening because you want to get from one place to the next. And this is why you choose this podcast. You are an entrepreneur or a business person. You're in sales. You have your own, health club, or, you have your own entrepreneurship focus, and you're trying to open up your own business, or you're trying to get to the next level in your own division. I didn't want to go too far on just my own experience, but I wanted to share with you how I thought it could apply to you. And that is, when you become better, or when you become next level, as CJ always says, levels to this, you begin to see the world around you change, So, see, like I said, we'll come back to it later, but that's my 2 cents, man.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you sharing that. And you guys know Cantus, he said something deep yesterday he was like, man, I listened to the podcast and you talked about, how you were getting, bum rushed and Carl was getting bum rushed. And he was like, man, it was crazy. Like a couple years later and y'all had, gone so far, the brand was so much bigger. And he said, the crazy thing is y'all didn't do nothing different. And I was like, like it really hit me. And I was like, no, you right. Like literally, we just kept marching down the exact same path. And we haven't done anything different since we started, right? And so that's what, when we talk about for real, once we self-assessed and figured out this is what we're supposed to be doing, we literally just kept chopping wood in that same spot since then. And so for me, I looked at London and Poland like, wow, when he said that, I was like, you're right, we didn't do anything different. And many of you, like I said, because you don't appreciate the small wins, you continue to switch up your hustle. And you keep getting 20% down this lane. Then you get 15% down this lane. Then you get 10% down this lane. And you got a whole bunch of items that are open and nothing closed, right? I'm telling you, we just one lane all day, every single day, nothing else. One lane, one lane, one lane. And look, we in Poland, right? And some of you, for real, you would have had success a long time ago, but you went down it and you hit the middle schools and they didn't have the checks for you. And all of a sudden you said, this ain't it. Then you started in network marketing and you went to network marketing. You put 20% in that and it wasn't working and everybody else was making money and you wasn't. You said, nope, this ain't it. Then you went back to school and you put 10% in school. You didn't get your degree. You didn't go hard there. That ain't it. And you're living an average life because of that. I am trying to tell you, we have done one thing. I've known E 11, 12 years. I've known Carl 11 years, and we have yet to do anything else. At no point did I call Carl and say, now's the time when we make our move into real estate. I promise you we've never had that conversation. At no point did I tell E, yo, now we can start this network marketing company. Now we got to do that. No. Every single thing we have ever done has been down this lane. So when I'm in Poland and me and Carl look at each other, I promise you, y'all know how it is. Carl got us mic'd up. And so we mic'd up and Carl can hear us from 1,000 feet away. And I was walking through the auditorium while he was on stage doing sound check. And I was like on the other side of the arena and I was just talking to Carl in his headphones and I can't hear him back, but I know he can hear me. Carl, you remember? And I was just like, wow, Carl. I'm like, yo, I'm looking at an arena. Like I'm looking at an arena. Thousands of people will be in here tomorrow. And I'm sitting here thinking, like, I cannot help but think that we got our first check out of a vending machine at a middle school. Like, I can't help but think about that. And I'm like, yo, how did you get here? And as we talk about how we got here, and that's why you got to come out to a conference. Listen, you have to come to a conference. You have to purchase the books because this is the kind of stuff we break down. And I said, how did we get here? And I said, for real, the first thing we did is we just did one thing. Like we cut the safety net and we did one thing. Like I promise you, we have the least diverse portfolio you have ever seen in your doggone life. I'm qualified to do one thing in this world. I ain't qualified to drive no bus. I ain't qualified to give you financial advice. I'm not qualified to give you parenting advice like that. The one thing I am qualified to do is tell you how to build your company in this vein, in this lane. And I promise it's because we stuck to it. And I swear to you, most of you would have been blew up. But I promise you, every time it don't look like you think it's supposed to look, every time you get 30% of the way in and the checks ain't coming in and people think you're doing the wrong thing, you switch up your whole swagger, you switch up your whole hustle and you quit. You probably would have been speaking right alongside of us had you stayed with it. Like I told you, when we started, I knew a bunch of cats that was speaking who was sweet too. I'm talking about these dudes could go, but guess what? They wasn't willing to endure. We talked about it on the Breathe You call last week. For real, we got on the track, y'all, and we just kept running. I didn't say we was the fastest, but I promise you, while everybody else dropping like flies, they can't take it no more, we're still running, guys, down the exact same, we ain't changed lanes yet. We have not changed lanes, and so we in Poland in an arena where they don't speak English because of the fact that we were willing to endure. And I promise you, if you were just stay in that lane and keep hammering that thing down, become successful in one thing, become a master of one thing, all these other doors will open up to you. We doing commercials. We filmed a commercial for Goodyear that's about to come out pretty soon. We filming commercials, voiceovers, doing all of this stuff off of one thing, off of staying faithful to one thing. And I promise you, if you stay faithful to one thing and just continue to harbor down that one thing, I promise you, you'll be on a whole nother level. But most of you won't do it because it's hard and it hurts and it's a little pain involved and there's sacrifice involved. And most people don't want to go through that.
Hey, and what I'll add real quick, is, so C's talking about it from the perspective of, the brand and how we grew. But I'm going to tell you guys what it did for me personally. Like, I remember, I go back now and look at the first TJM episode and I'm talking about, it's like comedy for me to look like, what in the devil were you doing? Like, what were you thinking? Like, I remember there's one episode he's talking about he's the common denominator, and I'm trying to make the video look like a fraction, like E over E. And I'm doing all kinds of stuff. But what I'm telling y'all throughout that process, because it was one thing that I was working on, oh my gosh, I'm telling y'all, my confidence right now is, man, not in an arrogant way, but I'm telling you, I've done it so long, for such a long time, and done it at such an excellent level. Like, I feel like there's nothing that I can't accomplish in that arena. Like, and I guess for E, it'll be the same thing. For C, it's the same thing. Like, as an individual, like, we watched ourselves go into the middle schools with the same camera I had, like, the little Walmart camera, come out and do a video from that. Start going into colleges, come out and do a video with that. Start going into, whatever, NBA, NFL, and start, coming out of that. And now, like C said, we're in Poland, and guess what? Can y'all guess what we did? We did the exact same thing. We going to Poland, we mic'd up, I got the camera, C's doing his thing, C's networking, E's speaking, and we come back with the exact same thing that we did with the middle schools, the exact same thing. But from a personal level now, I'm walking into that arena knowing that, like, for real, I'm walking in there with Iron Mike Tyson. Like, we about to knock this out in the first round. Like, I'm not even gonna get a drink. We about to knock this out of the park in the first round. Absolute confidence. Like, no shadow of fear. Like, I'm talking about, and see, I remember C telling me at the beginning of the event, like, Carl, go beast mode. And I just smiled. What he meant was, like, Carl, because again, in the beginning, I wouldn't go on stage. Like, I kind of stay in the corner and try to shoot E. I promise y'all, Poland, I could have been speaking. I was on the stage so much. Like, the confidence that I have now in what we're doing, for me as a person, I'm telling you, there's not an arena that I'm on stage with E in front of 10,000 people. I'm talking about he's there, the interpreter is there, and I'm standing right behind him with a camera. Like, nerve-wracking for me, 6-7 years ago, like, nerve-wracking, like, oh my gosh, I got to go stand up there. But now, man, the confidence that I have as a result of going through this process over and over and over and over, Marshawn said it best, over and over and over. We're going to run through them over and over and over and over and over. And we just keep running through them over and over again. So the confidence that I have now, man, is we could take on anything.
Hey, I don't know.
Carl, what's your confidence? Yo, my bad, E.
No, I was going to say, I don't know if it's illegal for us to play that piece or not. If it is, Carl, don't do it. But if it's legal at some point at the end or something, let's just do it.
No, it's legal. We ain't selling it.
I mean, because Carl said it and it was fire.
Go on and put
that in there so they can hear.
For those of you who haven't heard the Marshawn Lynch, I love that clip. Yep, go on and play it real quick one time.
That's when it just clicked in my mind that if you just run through somebody's face, a lot of people ain't gonna be able to take that over and 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 over again. They just not gonna want that.
Think there's a deeper metaphor there?
Run through a face, then you don't have to worry about them no more.
Yeah, so that's it, guys. Over and over and over, for real. That's what we did. I love it. Carl said his confidence level at a whole another rate, and I'm saying, Carl, what's your confidence level in doing taxes?
Oh, I'm talking about like minus 100.
What about the real estate gang?
Hey, minus 250,000. Yeah, no confidence at all.
Okay, so what I'm trying to tell you is, for real, and I say it during the conferences, for those of you who came to a VIP session, I say it all the time. There is no such thing as a confident person. It does not exist. And you looking at ET going, wow, ET seemed pretty confident. I see him on the videos. That's because you're watching him in his element. So of course he looks confident. Guess what? We used to walk past his classroom when he was in the PhD class and peek in on him in the PhD. I promise you, it was not beast mode. It was not beast mode. It was pussycat mode. It was like, I'm talking about very tame. Now, I'm not saying he didn't get it done or that he wasn't going to make it happen, or he wasn't going to get that PhD. But I promise you, he wasn't in there like, let's go. It was not that same level of enthusiasm. It was not that same level of beast mode, because that's not where he's confident. So of course he looks like a confident person, because the only time you see him is when he's in his element speaking. And you would look very confident if you would stay in your lane and stay in your gift. But you look like Steve Urkel because you're doing something you ain't got no business doing. So you look like a klutz. You look clumsy. You look incapable. You look like all these things that you're not, but you're just outside of your lane. Get back in your lane and turn into Jordan of your game. Turn into the Wayne Gretzky of your game, the Ronaldo of your game. Get back in your lane, and I promise you will look like E.T. on the TGIM. Everybody will say, whoa, what a confident person, if you stay in your lane.
Hey, I saw a clip this morning. I'm talking about like 4 o'clock this morning. I was scrolling through Facebook, and I saw, I don't know how you say his name, Prince E or whatever, Prince E, whatever his name is. But he was talking about the educational system, and he had this, I mean, you got to watch the video. It's a whole different context. But what he said in there is like, how you look as a fish trying to climb a tree. He's like, how you look as a fish trying to climb a tree, and then somebody tell you get back down the tree and walk down the street. Like, it don't even make sense. The first thing you got to do, and see, he's hitting at it, like, figure out who you are and what you good at. Like, once you figure that out, then you know you don't have no business in no tree. You're not going to be sweet trying to climb a tree. Like, it don't make sense. You know what I'm saying? Figure out who you are, what you good at, and then you beast that ocean. Ain't no shark in the ocean could catch you. You could be a goldfish, but that's your lane. You in that ocean and you doing your thing. It don't make sense you a fish trying to climb a tree.
Yep. No, that's the self-assessed piece that we talk about. And that's why, we continue to harp on it for those of you out there, because, man, once you get in that lane, it feels so sweet, man. We are doing what we were born to do.
Okay, guys, I got to add this. You know what I'm saying? I'm not debating with C. I'm not saying that, C is not, telling the truth when he says all we did was continue to do what we did. Like, definitely, that's right. But I want to build on that, because there are those of you who listen to us, and this is no disrespect, but in terms of critical thinking, you might not necessarily be able to think through what CJ is saying. And you just hearing on the surface, they just did the same thing. They just did the same thing. All I got to do is do the same thing. Listen to me very, very closely. Listen to me very, very closely. Not only did we do the same thing, we grew as individuals as we were doing the same thing. This is important, guys, because if both of us are doing the exact same thing, what's the gap? Like, how does one person get to become number one in what they do and the other person is number 20 in what they do? And to me, it has a lot to do with, are you growing in that process of doing the same thing? Because what CJ didn't say was that we were the exact same person in an exact same place doing the exact same things. That's not what he said. He didn't say we did the same thing and in 2016 we were who we were in 2014. He didn't say that. He didn't say we did the exact same thing, and we are the exact same person in terms of where we are in our craft. So listen to me very carefully, guys. I'm not the same person. I cannot explain to you how painful this process has been. You understand me? This process has been grueling. And I'm going to give you an example. I'm a high school dropout, bottom line. I'm blue collar all day. I don't like the etiquette class, the salad fork, the soup spoon, the dessert. Like, I'm like, look, y'all got to hear me. I'm keeping it 100. Like, I left home for good when I was 16. I left home. Now, we never talked about the fact that wasn't the first time I ran away. When you leave home at 16 years old and you raise yourself, you're not the most refined person in the world. Do you understand that I work at a major university? Do you understand when I travel to places like England? You know how aristocrat England is? Like, do you understand, like, that's a kingdom. That's not America. It's not a democracy. Like, that's a different level. So do you understand that I've literally had to become somebody and understand what I mean, that I'm not? Do you know how much compromising I have to do? Do you understand how I have to transform, how much reformation I have to go through when I go from place to place? Do you understand in terms of language? When I get in that sound booth and I have to do a voiceover, like, look, you got to get it. There's some people who do voiceover work, and for them, it's like, okay, you've never done this before. So it's a new world. So these are some of the things that you have to do. But the learning curve for them is not as steep as it is for me. It's not that they have a problem with enunciation. It's not that they didn't finish school. It's just that voiceover work is new to them. So they have to become familiar with like the studio and working in the studio. It's a total different beast for me. Like the learning curve, I'm so behind in so many things when you talk about this arena. Now you start talking about going, to schools in the hood, going to prisons. You start talking about, just certain things like, yo, that's my lane. But I am forced to live in a world that I didn't grow up in. I didn't grow up in academia. I didn't grow up with like I said, my mom at my house, we blue collar. Ain't nobody had no place, what do you call it, like place, silverware and stuff like. We didn't do all of that. Yeah, we didn't do that. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. I'm just saying that's not where I come from. I slept in abandoned buildings, y'all. I ate out of trash cans. Like, this ain't something I'm making up. So what you don't hear when you hear, oh, he lived in abandoned buildings, that meant when I wasn't going to school, when I wasn't in certain environments, the reinforcement of those values and that culture, I wasn't getting that stuff. So I'm behind for real, in a whole nother way. So you got to understand that who I am from year to year, y'all. Like, I'm studying the American Revolution. I'm studying the French Revolution. Like, I didn't catch that stuff when I was 16 and 17 years old. I wasn't doing that type of homework or research. I'm studying Einstein now and understanding the difference between intellect, that you can't measure, intellect in one way. Like, I'm just getting this stuff. So my diction has had to change. I'm still learning. Like, I was doing something the other day, CJ, and I was like, yo, E, it's not an issue of being smart or dumb, y'all. There's a certain level of detail that I don't give certain things just because I wasn't in the classroom like that. So there are times when I'm like, yo, it's not that you can't say a word, E. It don't have nothing to do with that. It has everything to do with I shut down when I was in school. So as an adult, it's just certain details that I'm not necessarily given to because that's not my thing. So I'm going off on a tangent, but I need y'all to hear what I'm saying. When CJ said we kept doing the same thing over and over again, yes, we do. But we're in the lab with that thing. We sleep with this thing. You understand me? We think about it all day. Our wives have to shut us off. We have to shut each other off. We analyze this thing. We dissect this thing. We tear it down. We build it up and we deconstruct it again. And we go it over and over and over and over and over. And we see things that we didn't see before. We see patterns. We recognize things that we didn't necessarily recognize before. And then we make the adjustment. And part of making an adjustment means that I have to become a different person. So I don't say this a lot, but don't get it twisted. This is hard for ET. This ain't how I grew up. And then you have people who correct you and I want to use the word properly, but people chastise you and tell you to grow in areas. It's like, for real, I'm swimming my whole life and then I come on land and you've been on land your whole life and you try and tell me that these are the things that I need to do. Right, because you've been on land your whole life. But if I bet you if we get in the water, you're not going to be as sweet as me. So I'm being asked to be on land a lot of times, guys, when I grew up in water. But I can't make excuses or I can't, say, well, hey, come in my world. I bet you couldn't survive in my world because they're not going to come in my world. But I'm in their world and I got to compete in their world. So I'm telling y'all, listen to what CJ's saying. We doing the exact same thing, not because we stupid or dumb. We're doing the exact same thing because we want to learn it. We want to become one with it. We want to be intimate with what we do so that we can produce on the level that even blows our mind. So like I said, I'm not taking away from what CJ said. I'm just adding to and trying to make the connection that Carl is not, listen to me, man. We don't have time on this doggone podcast. When I tell y'all Carl is not the dude that I met 10 years ago, I promise you, CJ, I promise you he's not the same dude I met 11, 12 years ago. They are different humans. And as a result of being different humans, we getting different results, y'all.
Well, that puts a cap on
wait.
that. I don't have nothing to say.
At nothing.
Let's move into Ask ET. Ask ET is brought to you by BreatheUniversity.com. Go check out Breathe University. You guys know what it is. We got the big dog Josh on there. We got our call. Matter of fact, we're recording this Thursday morning. So we got our call tonight, 6 p.m. We'd love to see you on the call, man. It's these calls been electric. Just the influence and the network that you build just by becoming a part of our community is insane. So we would love to see you at Breathe University. For those of you thinking about getting in, stop thinking about it, just do it. Half off your first month with the promo code BU special, right, Carl? They can still use that?
Still use it, but I'm going deeper, see. Like, I'm going money back guarantee. I'm like, yo, just try it for a month. If you don't like it, we give you your money back. Stop playing.
That $9.99 foolishness.
Stop playing. Like, whichever package you want. You join it today, I promise you. If you don't like it in 30 days, I give you your whole money back. No questions asked. Y'all hearing it live on the podcast. No questions asked.
I'm laughing because he just said Carl's a whole different person than the person I met. Carl just making bold decisions. That's the first I'm hearing of it. I'm like, praise God. Carl, like, look, I give you your money back personally.
See, only because, again,
people
playing, man. And I'm telling you, what we're seeing, not from us. We've lived this. We've done this. We know it works. But what the people that we're helping and we're watching from week to week grow and change their lives, man, you tripping. Like, you're tripping. Like, let me just be blunt. You're tripping. Like, don't play.
Hey, but I love what Josh said when we was at the conference. Josh was like, you might want to get in now because I promise you the price is
Absolutely.
He's like, I'm just saying. He's like, it's gonna come to a point where, for real, $199, 99, 19, you ain't gonna be able to get it for this. Get it now.
Hey, watch this though.
And I told y'all.
Hey, watch this.
Hey, and I love it.
I ain't never wanted it $19.99, so you know I can't wait for us to get off that $19.99 foolishness. My stuff went
no doubt.
way more than
I feel you. And like I said, shoot, I looked around. Hey, we did some price comparisons. I promise you.
We giving it away. We giving it away.
Now you want to go spend $7,000 and get information that I promise you ain't gonna be as sweet, then go for it. But I'm telling you, we got an insane product, man.
$7,000.
Hey, the Thank God I'm Married is in full effect. We running with the Thank God I'm Married now. We got a bunch of stuff. Just check us out. We ain't got time. We got to go. So real quick, let's jump into Ask ET. Shoot, I had my questions pulled up and I lost them, y'all. Okay, here we go. Steven in LA wants to know, ET, I read The Secret to Success. Loved it. He said, you talked about having a team before Carl and CJ. What's the difference between your old team and the team you have now?
Well, that's a different podcast, bro. Yeah, that's a different podcast.
Okay, we'll move on then.
Hey, we'll answer that for a podcast, but I will say this to you. It's like asking what's the difference between the team that Michael Jordan was on when he first was with the Bulls and when he got Scottie Pippen, a Dennis Rodman, a Paxton. Hey, ask me at the end of this season what was like having Kevin Durant with the Golden State Warriors. What was the difference, with him or without him? So yeah. That's my answer. See, and I'm sticking with it.
Oh man, speaking of which. Oh, I forgot. I didn't forget he was on the Warriors, but I forgot.
Oh, you didn't think about it.
And I just seen him in the jersey the other day, and I was like, whoa, this could very well get ugly. I'm like,
quick.
I saw a couple of highlights of one of the preseason games against the Clippers, and let me just let y'all know, it was ugly. 120-75 was the final score.
Oh, yeah, no. Yeah.
It was ugly.
Yeah, it's preseason, so you never know. Everybody ain't playing,
right.
but still.
For sure.
Yeah, no, that's some firepower that you ain't, that you're going to be hard-pressed to deal with. And shout out to my Lions for being disgustingly terrible. No. Look, I'm so tired of it, man. I promise you. And I try to be diplomatic. I promise you. It's like I can only take so much punishment as a fan. I've been a fan my entire life. I am so tired of the Lions being sorry. We lost to the Bears. Now, no disrespect to the Bears, but they had like a third string QB, a 10th string running back, and still beat us. Now, I did not watch the game. Thank God we were in Poland or wherever we were. I missed the last two games, right? So I'm not even tripping. I didn't even watch it. But I'm saying to come back after I had the nerve to come on here week 1 and say maybe we changing the culture. And I don't care. I just don't even care. If the Lions, I know we've got friends that own the team, I don't care. Y'all are terrible, and it's disgusting to watch, and it's unfair for the fan base. It's unfair to my dad, who's been watching way longer than I have. It's unfair to the Quinnies as a family, you know, and I'm on some selfish stuff right now, and I don't care. Y'all cannot be this bad this long. And now I got to watch the Patriots go to the Super Bowl again. Unbelievable. Next question. Don't even say nothing, please. I'm trying to enjoy my Thursday. Next question. Pamela in Eaton Rapids wants to know, how was your daughter transitioning into college? Good question. That's the last one. We'll get out of here on that one.
See, let me say what you said about Avery, you know, just that feeling you got, I'm getting that right now with my daughter in college, you know, and bruh, I love my children, bottom line, both of them, you know, but each child has that thing that they do that you like. I'm gonna say it that way. We're gonna go positive. You know, each child has that thing that they do that make you go, you know, and I'm spending 25 grand, bro. Bottom line, spending $25,000. Let me tell you something, man. I'm so proud of my daughter, man. I told her the other day, I said, boo, I'm just gonna be real with you. This is why I fell in love with you at first sight. When you came out your mama's womb and I was in that hospital room, like, this is why, you know, if you know anything about Boom Boom, Boom Boom gonna do what Boom Boom gonna do. Like, Boom Boom don't need no motivation. She don't need nobody, you know, I'm gonna buy you a car when you graduate, or I'll take you shopping if you, Boom Boom is like, I should have done my dissertation on her. Intrinsic motivation. I'm doing this because I value it. I'm doing this because my self-determination theory. I'm doing this because my self-worth is off in this joint. And I called Jada the first week of school, see, she had a English course. And I said, you know, how's it going? Do you need me, you know, to help you edit or anything like that? This was a Thursday. Her class was Wednesday. They had the first class on Wednesday. And, you know, they have to do the intro paperwork or whatever, the intro, you know, assignment. And she said, Thursday, Dad, edit. She said, Dad, I already turned it in. I said, you already turned it in? She said, yeah, class is tomorrow. I already turned it in, you know, and I was just like, unbelievable. So then the other day she hit me up a little frantic, like, you know, got that attitude spirit. I was like, what's going on, boo? She was like, Dad, I need help. What should I do? I was like, what's the problem? She was like, my teacher just gave me a 2 out of 4 on my paper. And I was like, what? You know, I was like, so, okay, so what's the problem? Did you not do it right? She was like, no, she gave me a 2 out of 4. My paper was great, but we have to do peer review. And she gonna tell me I got a 2 out of 4 because I didn't turn in my peer review. And I was like, oh, okay, so did you turn it in? She's like, yeah, I turned it in. You know, the young lady who I did the peer review on, it was her responsibility, but I saw her turn it in. And I was like, okay, well, bet. She's like, so I'm about to eat. Like, see, I'm so proud of this girl. What? No, I'm about to call. She like, she understands, like I said before, my daughter has been fortunate to go through school and go through it seriously. She attacking at the root. She said, no, I'm going to correspond via email. I want a record of this. I'm like, you go, girl, you go. So she said, I'm gonna write her a letter, but I want you to read the letter first to make sure I'm not too aggressive. So I read the letter, bro, and she was just like, look, I'm just gonna be real with you. This has absolutely nothing to do with my grade. A 2 out of 4 is not going to stop me from getting a 4.0 out your class. But principal, it's not my responsibility to turn in and keep up with the documentation. Like, that's not my responsibility. I was told to do it. I did it. And so, principal, I need you to do your homework and find out what happened. Man, why she sent me an email the next day, the teacher responded back, said, my apologies. I triple checked, and you did turn in your assignment. And I want to apologize. You got a 4 out of 4. I was like, boom, boom, boom. You know what I'm saying? Because you know, had it been my other child, I don't know that they'd have been like, oh, okay, 2 out of 4. I think I turned it in. I'm not sure if I did it or not. Maybe I did it. You know, and so I'm just so proud of Jada, because none of my children, and like I said, I don't say it, you know, to be disrespectful to my wife and myself or to my family, but we're just not necessarily, you know, scholars. That's just not our thing. You know what I'm saying? You talk about average skill, like maybe my children might be a little above average, but they're definitely not valedictorian, summa cum laude, nothing like that, but my daughter is a magna cum laude in, what would you call it, will. Her will is phenomenal, and I'm just so proud of her.
No doubt, man, no doubt. Boom, boom, good looking. It's so crazy just having her, like she is Spartan now, and I'm loving it, man. Watching I remember her when she was tiny, so to see her as a Spartan, man, with that same, and you don't change much, man. She been like that. That's what's so crazy. So shout out to Jada and her first semester at Michigan State, becoming a part of that Spartan family. All right, I got to go because I can hear my son calling for me upstairs, and I'm not trying to get in trouble. So, E.T., get us out of here on a quick nugget of the day so we can go, and we'll see y'all next week.
See, quick. There's no talent here. All right? I want everybody, if you go to Google right now, you put in motivational speaker, in some categories, I'm going to come up number 1, right? And I need y'all to understand, I ain't bragging. This is what I'm saying. There's no talent here. All right? There's no talent. This, my friend, is hard work. All right? I want y'all to hear that. It's hard work. All right? This is an obsession. Getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning. Going to bed late, grinding, being at Florida Gators, and, in between, I'm doing my run, going to prisons, high school. Listen to me, y'all, for real. This ain't talent. And sometimes because of the passion and the consistency and the team I got, you think it's talent. There is no talent here. This, my friend, is all hard work. This is an obsession. Talent does not exist. All right? All men are created equal. Some work harder in preseason. Right? And look, you can be anyone you want to if you put in the time. All right? You too can reach the top. You feel me? And that's why, listen to me. And that's why I tell you there's no talent here. I'm not talented. ET is obsessed. I'm not talented, y'all. I'm obsessed with greatness. I'm obsessed with wanting to be phenomenal. So if you're out there and you feel like I'm not the most talented person in the world, I didn't grow up on the right side of the track, I don't have, a degree, I don't have money, it's okay. If you have a phenomenal will, you don't need talent. All you need to do is be obsessed with this thing. And I'm telling you, if you're obsessed, anything you want, anything you want to do, anything you want to have, listen to me, anything you want to be, I promise you, you can make that thing happen, all right? So, and I got to be real with y'all. I got that from another obsessed dude, Conor McGregor, who was a UFC fighter. That's his statement, right? So I just read what he said because I believe that just like him, I'm not talented, I'm obsessed. So go out there today in your marriage, be obsessed. Go out there in your job and be obsessed. All right? All my lions out there, go out there and see, want y'all to be obsessed, right? Listen to me very carefully. Whatever you do, whatever you put your hands to, do it with passion. And I guarantee you, there is nothing you can't accomplish and nothing you can't do.
Man, appreciate that, E. Hey, y'all go to iTunes, leave us that review. We'll see you next week.
I want you to focus on here right now. Don't you worry about when you get home. You concentrate on this opportunity. You don't worry about tomorrow. You concentrate on this opportunity with all your might, with all your soul, with all your heart. You focus on this, and tomorrow will take care of itself. Oh, I promise you that. So